And we're live, just like that. Frank, welcome aboard. Welcome to the house for the night. Just me and you talking about some nonsense.
We've done that
I'm
before.
pretty sure that's pretty much all we do. Congrats on winning the TOC, though. How was it?
Thanks. It was
How
a
did
lot
it
of
feel?
fun. Felt
Just
great.
settled in?
Yeah, it felt great. It was a lot of fun. One of those really, really good days on the lanes. Good weeks.
Did you, during the show, did you ever know that, at some point it was just going to be, one of those days?
Not really, no. I didn't really want to think too far ahead, so no, not really.
That's why I'm not nearly as good as you.
Just took it. Well, you've had those days. Kansas City's been good to you.
But it happens game 2. I'm like, I'm just not gonna miss. Just not gonna happen.
Yeah, no, I don't have that.
I feel like it always happens. In the middle of the first game. It's just middle of the first game, maybe the second game. It's just, I don't know what's going on with the chat. Do we have any people in the chat? I don't know what's going on with the chat. This is, as I said, extremely unprofessional. Yeah, it usually happens to me game 1 or 2. I'm just wow, I just threw that horrible and still struck, which means I can throw it anywhere I want.
Yeah. It's rare that I get that. We have to make more moves than you do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you guys have to change balls every once in a while, move your feet. Oh, there we go. First comment. We're good. I don't know what that word was. Last week. Yeah, so basically how we run the show here, we just basically field as many questions as possible. Kind of, it's not really me running it as much as it is the fans running it, seeing what they have to ask, what they want to know, because I already know everything and have asked all the questions, I'm sure. But last week they had 3 boards on either side. Yeah, deal line, but TOC made them throw a perfect Frankie style. Is perfect when it takes precision. Has it always been like that for you? Do you think, even as a youth, where it's accuracy when they're hard? Obviously, the U.S. Open is one of the hardest. You've won that twice. Has that always been your game?
Yeah, I think so. I've never really been too powerful, so I've always kind of found ways to do it differently. So whether that's with accuracy or all those other things, I think it's always been that way. Whether I was younger or even now, especially on tour, because I'm probably one of the lowest rev rates on tour.
Yeah, I would definitely say on that lower end for sure. And so he kind of brought up the precision thing, but during the beginning or middle of the week, one of those, it seemed like as the blocks went on, they slowly got harder. Obviously I didn't bowl because I stink, but as the blocks went on, they got harder and harder. It seemed like, just by score watching, I didn't even watch. The only game I watched of the entire tournament on Flow Bowling, which this is bad because I am a subscriber. The only game I watched was your roll-off game. That was the only game I watched. I was like, man, I saw he was ahead by a bunch, and then he tied Smallwood. I only watched the roll-off game. But it seemed like that roll-off game was kind of where the scores were leading to, that grind of a game where someone's going to catch a couple strikes and just win the game. So when, did you feel more comfortable as the scores got lower, or out the gate were you also striking a ton?
No, I was striking a bunch on the fresh. Every block we bowled, there were 6 game blocks, and every block we bowled, I had 4 or 5 good games and 1 or 2 bad games. So that's kind of that was kind of the story of the week. Every single one, I had a game where I couldn't really figure it out. Couldn't figure out how to get the ball to go through the pins. Sometimes I get to the pocket okay, I just couldn't get the ball through the pins, and sometimes I was just completely lost. So but it happened kind of every single block that way. And so no, I didn't like it when they were a little bit tougher, I guess. I think it depends on the person too, because I do think some people did well at the end of blocks. I just personally didn't.
Yeah. And so do you like what during a tournament? This is just me asking because I'm curious. During the tournament, when you say like that, when you're like, yeah, some people did well later in the block, do you go look at those people and be like, what ball are they using? What part of the lane are they playing? Or are you just like, you know what, I'm getting my pins early. Let me work on my own game plan later.
Closer to the second thing you said. I used to watch a little bit more, but now I'm just trying to do my thing. It's kind of hard to. It gets to a point where I can watch a lot of people, but you get to a point, especially when we're lofting, that I can't really recreate what the other guys are doing. So it's not really super useful. So yeah, I didn't really watch too much. I just kind of tried to figure it out within what I do. It didn't really work.
It's pretty.
But
So,
on fresh, I was doing all right. I think I shot 800 twice for the first 3 games of blocks, and like in my
so you're keeping
in
up.
my life, I've probably had 800 just 4 or 5 times, and I had it twice this week. So yeah, the fresh is where I got a lot of pins, and then I struggled the last 2 games.
I mean, at some point, I'm just going to stop believing you because, like, I feel like every time I talk to you about honor scores, you're like, yeah, I've only had like 2 or 3 800s, and every time it's like, yeah, I had one this week, but it's only like my third.
Yeah, same
Stop
thing.
believing you.
Same thing with 300s. I've had 20 300s since 2012, probably.
That's a lot. You bowled a lot when you were young. Jeez. Jeez.
Yeah, I just don't keep track.
It's probably the most important question of the day. Frankie, how do you become good? From Kylie Olson.
You just practice. Packy knows about that. I remember when Packy came to Wichita State.
I know all about practice.
Packy practiced a lot. He was down there all day, every day, getting better. And now Packy's good. So you become good by practicing the right things. If you can find a coach that is going to help you, that obviously is really good.
Yeah. And I think something you can learn from team sports is like, yes, finding a coach is great. I know a lot of medium to okay bowlers that have coaches that are amazing coaches and just don't listen.
Yeah.
So if you have a coach that's good, I would definitely take their advice and try and work on it. Even if you become a little worse from the start, definitely. Bowling, at least for me, was always about playing the long game of I know tomorrow I might not be better if I try and fix my footwork, but 3 weeks from now I'm going to be way better.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's not a bad idea to get information from a couple of different sources either. You don't really necessarily have to find one coach that's going to follow you for the rest of your life. It's okay to get different perspectives and to hear what different people have to say and how they view the game.
Yeah. So who's your coach? I don't even know, and I basically practice with you all the time. So is it me?
Yeah, I've worked. No.
It's probably a good thing.
Over the years, I've had quite a few different coaches. I've had a lot of people that have helped me in my career. I've been pretty fortunate to be surrounded by some really knowledgeable people. So it pretty much started on Team Canada with Tyrell Rose, and then obviously I went to Wichita State. So I had Coach Vatican, Coach Lewis, Rick Steelsmith a little bit. He's obviously working with the school now. He wasn't when I was there, but I have worked with him a little bit in the past too. And now, ever since going on tour, Tim Mack, Jim Callahan, Sean Ryan have been really helpful for my success on tour for sure. Because it just feels like a completely different game sometimes when you go out there versus when you're just bowling in amateur tournaments. So, like I said, different perspectives is okay.
Yeah, and do you kind of take a collection of their ideas and just find out what works best for you? Because that's kind of how it was for me when I first got to Wichita. Like you said, I practiced all the time, and obviously I didn't get to work with the coaches every day. So it was, a little with the coaches, ask a question here or there, and then also talking to guys like you, Mitch, guys like AJ Chapman, Matt McNeil, and just kind of picking those like good ideas that kind of worked, kind of clicked, and then using them.
Yeah, it's like that for me too. Everyone kind of sees the game a little bit differently, and everyone learns differently too. So for some people, one coach might be great, and that same coach might not be great for other people, and vice versa. Some ideas that you hear might just click immediately, and it makes sense, and it helps you improve really quickly. But some other things just kind of go over your head, and that's fine. That's why I say having different sources of information isn't a bad thing. You just pick what works for you and
For
what
sure.
makes sense, and just go with that.
For sure. All right. How did you have that ball drilled? First off, what was the magic $100,000 ball?
There were three of them. Which ball do you mean, Brian? Because I had a Rubicon, an RST X1, and a Phase 2.
I'm just telling you right now, I'm not nearly good at live streams, so I would just answer all of them.
The off the top of my head, I think they were all 5 inches from my PAP. The RSTX1 might have been a little bit longer, 5.25, but the Phase 2 and the Rubicon were 5 inches. The Rubicon had the mass bias pretty close to the thumb, and the other ones were pretty close to my regular layout. So,
so the RST was like the different one, or the Rubicon.
The Rubicon was a little bit different because the mass bias was a little bit closer to my thumb, but the other ones were. I'm trying to see if I have them. 50 by 5 by 35 is pretty much my standard layout, so they were probably close to that.
And have you always gone with those? That's for me, that would be like a super long pin, and I feel like my ball wouldn't hook, but that's just like a lefty kind of thing. Why do you go with the long pin?
Well, for me, 5 inches is pretty standard. That's pretty much what I put on everything. So that's just what works for me. I feel like too strong. Stronger than that it is sometimes too strong, and weaker than that is too weak. To keep it simple.
So you just slap that on a ball, and it usually works every time.
Exactly.
Works every time it works?
Exactly. Every time it works.
Okay, so I've heard this comparison like 80 times in the last 3 days, saying that Frankie is the modern Norm Duke, or the like new age Norm Duke. Are you a fan of that, or are you the new Francois Lavoie?
No, I'm a fan of that. I love Norm. I thought I've actually talked to Jason since then, and I said I heard what he said about comparing me to Norm Duke, and I thought that was really cool. Norm is someone that I looked up to a lot, someone that I watched bowl a lot when I was younger on TV. So, yeah, it just feels really good to be compared to him, obviously.
Yeah, something like I feel like he's one of those guys. Even me, a two-handed lefty, I look up to Norm. I still see him go out there and beat my ass for a couple games every week, or just every game the whole week. It just depends. But he's one of those guys. I feel like all of us around this age, between the ages of like 25, 20-year-olds to 35-year-olds, we all watched him. Like we all watched him be Norm Duke. One of the greatest bowlers on the planet, if not the. Just means you're a shot maker. That's why I'll never be compared to him. I'm a sprinkler. When you guys were considering going to symmetrical balls, when Sean's fill ball with the high road max looked okay, looked like the ASINs weren't blending it out for anyone except Frankie.
I don't know. I can't really speak for anyone else on the show because we don't really talk about, we don't really compare ball selections or anything like that. But
yeah,
for me, what Sean was doing wasn't really. I had a game plan, and I had a progression of balls that I was planning on using, and so whatever Sean did wasn't really affecting my decision making. I already had ideas of what I wanted to do and which balls I wanted to use. So No, not for me personally. And like I said, I can't talk for the other guys on the show.
Yeah, and I know on shows I've talked to you about this. You almost intentionally try and not watch the other guy's bowl. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Lately, that's what I've done. I kind of pay attention to what like where they're throwing the ball, but um, just generally watch a little bit of ball motion. But lately, I haven't really um, watched too much as far as like what their results are, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you watch the ball go down the lane and kind of just don't pay
Right.
attention to strikes or spares
Hmm.
or lucky
Yeah,
breaks or
exactly.
whatever might happen.
Yeah, no, I try not to pay too much attention to stuff like that because then it can it can get frustrating and it can get in your head and
Start the
um,
fire.
yeah, exactly. So I don't play around with that.
If you could bowl on any oil pattern, this isn't surprising. This isn't a usual question that we get. If you could bowl on any oil pattern, what would it be?
I don't
Let's
know.
say for the World Series. Like if you could say we're only going to bowl on one of them the whole time, which one would you pick? I also don't know which patterns they
Only
are putting in.
only on one pattern. Man, I really don't know. I don't even know what the patterns are, to be honest. I don't know what the names. Just yeah, they've changed them so many times, so it's hard to keep up.
Yeah,
I don't even know. Um, I don't know. I think ideally, like something like 3 or 4 to 1 would probably be pretty easy.
yeah. So for me, it is just
The house shot.
Give me the 15-1 with a puddle in the middle.
Just give Packy the house shot.
Give me the PBA house shot, aka North Rock Lanes Friday night sweepers. But yeah, I mean, like you said, like the oil patterns over the years, like Cheetah was 35 for a while, then it was 33. It's been like 37 at a tournament. Like they put the name on these patterns, like they name them, but it's not actually like they change the volumes all the time. It's not like a set pattern because they try and adjust it to the bowling alley, at least
Right.
from what I can see.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
mean, they modify the patterns every couple of years, it seems. So, like you talked about Cheetah, sometimes it's 35, sometimes it's 33. I don't know. I don't really keep up with it. If I have to bowl on it, I'll see what happens on practice day and go from there.
yeah, I mean, for short patterns, I know it's probably urethane, but like 98% of the time it's going to be urethane. And when it's not, I'm just going to bowl bad with urethane instead. But for me, that's just, I look at the distance and I try and figure it out from there. And sometimes the distance doesn't even matter. Like at the
Right.
Players, Shark was 45 feet and I threw urethane out on the gutter because the gutter at the center just
Right.
hooks that much.
Yeah.
Or maybe my touch is
Live and
better.
die with the purple hammer.
Listen, you throw. Oh my God, let me tell you. So funny side story before we talk about that one. I was practicing today in Pensacola, and this kid was like super excited about meeting. He like walked in the bowling alley, and he's like, "No way, it's Chris and Packy and Mitch." And I was like, "This kid's like our age, so I view him as like a peer, not like a fan."
Right.
And he was like, "No way." He was like really hyped. He shakes Chris' hands and he goes, "Oh my God, this is so crazy." He shakes my hand and he goes, "Purple Hammer." And I was like, "Really? Is that becoming me? Am I becoming the Purple Hammer?" He shook my hand and he's like, "No way, Purple Hammer, right?" And I'm like,
Nice.
"Oh my God, not nice. I'm trying not to be that guy."
You actually throw more reactive than a lot of lefties do.
Yeah, and I don't know why I'm the Purple Hammer guy. Probably because I just talk about it. What did Belmo say to you after your second 300 with the Belmo ball? So what was that? Earlier this year, or
That was at the playoffs last year, end of last
yeah,
year.
yeah,
Yeah. What did Belmo say after my second 300 with the Belmo ball? He was
yeah. Was he
happy.
like all pumped about it that it was his ball?
Yeah, of course he was happy. Why wouldn't he be? Someone used one of his balls and shot 300 on TV. That's pretty exciting, I think.
That brings me to my personal question: when are they coming out with the Francois Lavoie ball? Can I
uh,
put you on the ball, or is it 10 majors later?
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't have the pedigree for that just yet.
Probably going to call it the U.S. Open ball.
Yeah.
if you could choose,
if that was to happen, it probably wouldn't be a very popular ball because I'd want a ball I can keep in front of me.
like, let me keep it in front of me, something that doesn't really snap down lane, really smooth, doesn't hook a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
What was, so that was kind of my next question. So if you were to have like a Frankie ball, what would it be? Maybe like it could be a ball that you already have right now, or it could be like a certain cover stock that you like, or a certain shape. Because I'll tell you mine.
Go ahead. You go first.
This is the Packy's purple hammer. Easy.
Yeah.
Just throw my logo on it.
Have a purple hammer and throw a Packy logo on it.
Yeah, it's simple.
Yeah, I don't know what mine would be. Yeah, I've never really thought about it. I'd probably try to get close to like a phase 2 or something like that. Something that's something that can be used on a lot of different patterns, like a benchmark type.
Just something. Are you a fan? I know you used to throw the IQ all the time. Would that be like something similar to that phase 2 or
the IQ really? Tour? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that, like a benchmark type ball. I think for now, for the things we bowl on, sometimes the IQ's just it's weaker than the phase 2, so not quite as strong. It doesn't flare as much, so I'd probably go closer to phase 2 than IQ Tour, but something kind of like that. You can play different angles with it. You can use it on a multitude of patterns.
Yeah, I was talking to Mitch about that. You know, like balls like the phase 2, and Brunswick recently has come out with some decent like mid-range balls. I think those are the symmetrical balls in that like phase 2. For us, it would be like a damn good verge in that like line of balls. Like those are some of the most useful shapes because you can play straight. You can drill them to snap a little harder. And it's one of those, like, I'm sure you have 3 or 4 phase 2s that you probably bring to tournaments.
Yeah, I usually have at least 2 of them.
Yeah. And it's just super, super useful shape. All important. How do you make corner pins question? How
do I make corner pins? I don't really understand the question.
All right, we'll switch to the next one. When you guys switch from one pair to another in a tournament, how long does it take to figure out the oil pattern? So obviously the oil pattern is going to be the same, but how often, like if a pair is very different from the last, like if you, like you said, you're shooting 800 the first 3, you're probably not moving too much, switching balls too much, but then you get to that 4th pair and it's a little tricky. How long does it take for you to figure it out? How long will it take you to switch balls after shooting something like an 800?
Well, that really depends, and it's gonna dictate your scores, right? It's gonna dictate everything, how the rest of your block goes and all.
I love it. Who's messing with you?
Having a little lights show.
It's actually a concert.
Yeah, I mean the guys that figure it out the quickest are the ones that are going to score the best. So if you can do that consistently, you'll end up winning multiple tournaments, like the gentleman who's currently clapping for me.
Who's chirping at you?
That would be Jason.
The guy who strikes the most and spares the best will win the tournament.
The guy who strikes the most and spares the best will win the tournament.
Great insight from a champion, 3-time major champion.
3-time major champion.
A long time ago.
Jesus. A long time ago when he won his 3rd major. What was that, 20 years ago?
Something like that.
How old is he now? Is it time for him to retire yet?
How old is Jason? I don't know. He looks like mid-30s. 37.
I was going to say upper 40s. Tell him I said that.
I still got his.
You still got that swing tip this month. I swear to God.
He's got the swing tip.
I'm steaming right now.
Watches this go back. I almost said it to him, but I got interrupted.
He said he almost said it to you, but he got interrupted on TV.
Yeah.
You know, I thought for a second he was messing with me at the league because right before we hop on, he's like, "Oh yeah, remember after the show, I'll give you that swing tip." And I was like, this man trying to mess with me before I bowl. They put out the house shot. It's not even possible to mess with me.
That's true. That's true. You did pretty well.
I mean, everybody did pretty well. It was the house shot. You did pretty well. We all did.
Yeah.
Scores are high. What was your first reaction to the roll-off against Smallwood? So I'm going to make this question a little bit different. So when you step up in that 10th frame, you probably need – he finished first, right? So you need 3 strikes to win or 2 and then 9 to tie.
Yeah.
So when you stepped up and got that break, on that second ball, you rolled like a 2-pin or got that like a super light mixer hit.
Yeah.
What was your thought on the next shot? Did you go and get a different ball?
No, I didn't.
Because you left and then came back after a little while.
Yeah, I left because I actually didn't know what the score was. So I went back and I asked Jimmy what the count was, because obviously I had just thrown it in the gutter. So I was curious to know what the count was and if I could just throw it straight or if I needed to try to strike. And Jimmy said I needed to strike. So I went back. I wasn't going to throw it straight down the middle, and I just tried to regroup and make a good shot and see what happens. And I 10-pin, so we tied, and then we had a roll off and switch pairs, and it worked out pretty well for me.
That pair looked pretty difficult. That second
Yeah,
one.
I think at that point, like I said, like I had 4 or 5 good games every block, and then 1 or 2 bad games every block. So at that point,
You were due.
No, I don't think that's what it was. But yeah, we got to the roll off, and I just tried to find something different and tried. That's why we both moved to the right. I knew it. If I was playing that far left, I might struggle, and I didn't really want to do that in that scenario. So
Yeah.
I tried to find something different, and I just ended up figuring that pair out a little bit quicker than Tom did.
Yeah, and it looked like for Smallwood, after about 3 or 4 frames, that he was very confused just with the oil pattern, what was going on. So what was your thought process knowing you just got beat by like 60 that game, 61 that game? What was your thought process like knowing I got to switch pairs and try and figure it back out, or got to try something different because I know he has a pretty good look and my look is 190? Or was there none of those thoughts going on? Because I know my thought would be, I got to change something to try and keep up.
Yeah, there's a little bit of those thoughts, but I tried to the game we had just bowled to tie didn't matter anymore. So I just tried to put that behind me and try to figure out that pair that we were going to as best as I could. We had 5 minutes of practice, so I threw some shots left, I threw some shots in the track, I threw some shots right. And even after practice, I didn't really see anything that gave me a whole lot of confidence, but I talked with the ball reps and decided to kind of go straighter, try to play the track and try to freeze it in there. And it worked okay on the left lane, but on the right lane, that didn't work at all. So Sean came over to me and he said, you know what, I actually think out of the box, but I think you can probably curve that hustle link on that right lane. So that's what I did. And I went in front of the ball return, didn't go far enough left. The first shot I threw it and missed the 3, 6, 9, 10. But after that, I made a good adjustment and I got a 4 or 5 bagger in the middle of the game. And like I said, Tom didn't really figure that pair out quite as well. So in the end, I came out on top.
So is Sean Ryan just the absolute man? Do you owe him like $75,000 or what's the deal?
Yeah, Sean's the GOAT.
That's fair. Frankie. Who made that? Oh my God, that's a dog toy?
That was Chris. It is a dog toy.
And no wonder Chris was playing with it. Like a literal dog. All right.
Yeah.
Surprised I didn't hear him barking in the background earlier.
Dog toy. No wonder Chris was playing with it.
So Randy said for a while you went, and I know this because I watched it happen practicing, but Randy said you tried to be a power player and then kind of went back to your, almost not really transition to trying to be a power player, but trying to play the lanes like that, hit it a little harder, get in, hook it with the big dogs. And what was your reason beside, like, why did you think that's what I need to do? And then again, why did you think, like let's switch it back.
Yeah, when I tried to do that, I wasn't bowling very well, and so when that happens, you start asking yourself questions, and you think, how can I do better? What do I need to change? And when I was looking around me, obviously everybody on tour has a higher rev rate than I do, so I thought, well, maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I need to increase my rev rate and open up my angles all the time and try to play the lanes like everybody else does.
Mhm.
And that just didn't work out. I tried a couple different things, and it just made me uncomfortable, and I wasn't repeating shots very well. And yeah, you just don't bowl well when you're uncomfortable like that. And so I just kind of went down that rabbit hole and did that for a couple of weeks, and eventually kind of hit that point where I'm like, this isn't working either. So I'm just gonna try to go back to what I was doing before, and just go back to square one, and we'll figure something new. We'll figure something else out from there. But so I just went back to kind of what I do, and then just kind of decided to be Frankie, but to work within that range and to expand my tool set and such, but still be myself and not try to become somebody else.
Like have the high rev rate as a trick every once in a while, but not this is my A game.
Right. Yeah.
That makes sense. How do you throw urethane? Speaking of Frankie's A games, how do you throw urethane? Still trying to like learn how to use it, obviously. So John is a channel member. Shout out to him. $100,000. Big the money man. Let's give you a solo. So tell him. Oh God,
that's the wrong one.
That's the wrong one.
There's a big check in the background.
This is what we. Sean, that's Sean's check. It actually should say Sean's name on it.
Yeah, we'll change the name on it to Sean Ryan.
So what do you?
I can't hear these are noise canceling.
Mine are also noise canceling.
Oh yeah, we might have to pour this. We might have to pour this drink in the trophy.
Pour it in the cup
and drink
a sip out of it.
Yeah. How do I throw urethane? I'm not.
Yeah, how do you throw urethane?
I'm probably not the best person to ask for that.
So I actually have somebody else we can ask, and he's awesome at throwing urethane as well. Hello, can you hear me? Tell me you can hear me.
Hey. I can hear you. Yeah. I can't hear you anymore.
Can you hear me now?
How about now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Perfect. That means that Packy's good at his job.
Not so much.
Yeah, Frank, explain to the world how you throw your. Hey, I have one of those.
Yeah, Chris goes, I have one of those.
Same with the check in the background.
There's a guy making guacamole in front of me who has 3 of those. How do I throw urethane? I usually when I throw urethane, I throw it slow because it doesn't want to hook too much.
Or at spares.
Or I throw urethane at spares. That's the best thing I do with urethane is throw it at spares. How do you throw it, Chris?
Not very well. Typically, I try to throw it slow like you're talking about, but I don't get the ball to read the lane nearly as early as you, so I don't have near as much success with it. I think it's definitely a technique that you need to be either slower ball speed with a very heavy roll, meaning you get the ball to read very early, or a slightly rev dominant player that still gets the ball to read the lane earlier than most typical bowlers.
Yeah, if you're doing the right thing with a urethane ball, it can really help you control different patterns on the fresh, and you see that more and more now with the higher rev players. They just throw urethane, and it's kind of a different way to control the pattern where they can stay comfortable to a little bit closer to what they like to do naturally, and the ball helps them control the pattern a little bit better.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I feel like urethane is kind of like built-in good ball motion. It reads the lane early. It doesn't really break loose down lane unless you're doing the wrong thing with your hand.
Right.
And it makes playing more difficult patterns significantly easier.
I agree with that. Yeah, but it also looks really bad when you're using it at the wrong time. So you gotta be able to make that difference, recognize when that happens, and then switch to reactive.
Yeah, be a little less stubborn whenever you bowl.
Yeah. Was
Right.
any of my equipment shiny? Not on the TV show, but the funny thing about that is the TV show was completely different from what we bowled on during the week. Throughout the week, the balls that I used the most were the Astrophysics, the new Rubicon UC2, and an IQ Tour, a shiny IQ Tour. And on the TV show, those balls, how shiny? Very shiny. It was the Sean Ryan special.
Is he in the back?
He is, yeah.
Yeah. Gotta get a lefty surface on it, or lack of surface, I guess.
Yeah. It was. I almost dropped it when he gave it to me off the spinner. It was so hot.
Favorite layout.
Burning.
Favorite layout.
In the background and asking questions.
Well, he's got to ask the questions here because these are noise canceling headphones, so I can't hear anything.
Packy once said, "No righty." Listen, there's always righties in the cut. Is that Frankie with power players?
Yeah.
Would you say that
absolutely.
power players never have an excuse to miss the cut because there's always a power player in the cut?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're a power player, there's always going to be friction right of you.
So basically, you're saying they put out the house shot by guys like you bowling.
Why would you ever miss a cut?
I don't know if this was brought up yet because obviously I just came in, but I love how, what was it? Was it the going into the last round of match play, Frank, whenever you said, yeah, I move left and I just don't create enough power, so it's hard for me to keep up. Was that last block of qualifying that we said that? Because you brought out an idle flow.
Yeah, last block of qualifying. Yeah, we had drilled a couple different balls to try to stay further right. And yeah, I said, I get to a point, I'm looking at where I'm standing and I'm looking at the lane. And I'm just like, I have no business being as far left as I am. What am I doing here?
I've only seen that in Kansas City one time when you were throwing this astrophysics and you're like, I just know I'm going to flat 10 from here. So I'm going to need to strike more. And I was like,
the flat 10 is kind of the flat 10 is kind of the best case scenario. And the worst case scenario is all sorts of splits.
Yeah. That's fair. So you're saying Belmo has no reason to ever miss a cut because he's the highest power player.
That's right.
That's fair. I would never have a reason if you gave me that freaking swing tip. Jesus. Been waiting for that swing tip.
Gonna keep waiting too.
Always work on what comes before the shot, which is your form and approach. What do you think of that? So obviously from a coaching perspective, I coach some kids and it depends on how you throw it. For me, at least, it depends on how you throw it. But I do think, once you get to a certain form, obviously all the guys at our level, they tweak their form here and there, but they don't tweak it a ton. What do you think about that? How important do you think the physical game is?
Yeah, obviously it's really important. I think now another thing that's really important is finding the right ball and throwing it in the right part of the lane. But the physical game obviously is very important. You got to be able to repeat shots, especially if you want to compete at a higher level.
Yeah, repeat shots, as this guy comments. Just throw urethane towards the fence. Continue.
Yeah. But then on top of that, what comes before the shot, you think of the pre-shot routine. That's really important too. That really helps you. That kind of helps ground you and make sure that every shot you throw is almost the same in a way. So you're not worried about if you're in the first frame or in the 10th frame.
Yeah, so before he said form, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, I always wipe my towel off the same amount of times. I always think about where I want my ball to be at down lane as well as at the target. And then from there, I draw the line and just step up and try and repeat the same thing. But once you get to a certain level, I think the pre-shot routine almost takes over, thinking about your form or your footwork or something like that before your shot.
Yeah, I think it has to. Yeah.
This is a pretty from DJ Harry's dance party group. We got firing him from the top rope. What type of pitches do you use on your grip? Also, how long did it take for you to learn the bent elbow and unload release? It's amazing. So we got a fan here, obviously.
Yeah. The bent elbow load and unload thing isn't really something you learn. I think it's just something you do. I don't remember ever learning to do that. That's just kind of how I've bowled. As far as my pitches go, in my thumb I have a quarter left, a quarter reverse, and in my middle finger I have a quarter reverse and 5/16 left, and in my ring finger I have a quarter right and 0.
Why is everybody so
Basically, what I hear is that 3 pounds of rosin that you use before every shot is the whole reason the ball stays on your hand.
Exactly.
I honestly, whenever I first saw like one of your drill sheets, I was like, I don't understand how he ever won. Like it just didn't stay on his hand that long. Like what?
Right.
What's thumb pitch?
Yeah.
What does
Thumb
that mean?
Yeah,
pitch.
Packy knows all about thumb pitch. His is 3 inches to the right and
Just
like an inch forward, right?
Yeah, just right on top of the
Yeah.
ball.
cooked? But I know
Maybe
Just sideways.
Maybe put a piece of tape. Maybe I'll wear a piece of tape on the back of my thumb this week just to mess with people. Just
Wear a hat a patch. Yeah.
Wear a hat a patch on my opposite thumb, my right thumb, just cause.
Put a piece of white tape on the front of your thumb for extra grip.
Yeah. Listen, I've done some crazy things. Like I used to bowl tournaments, and if I wasn't striking, I'd put a piece of tape on the back of my opposite hand, and I'd tell all my teammates, I'd be like, watch this double, and then make fun of me.
That's ridiculous.
And then I'd continue to wash out, and I'd throw the piece of tape in the trash angry. Listen, guys. Oh my God, that's Matt.
I know. I was hoping you put that up.
Non-existent. My 100K check is non-existent. Listen, you guys got these really cool trophies and cups, and I got like a plastic cup over there for drinking water out of. That's pretty much all we got.
This is your trophy.
Yeah, my trophy's like this cup. You guys have like real nice, like cool aluminum cups, plastic cup, whatever it is. It's worth 100,000.
The crystal ones are really cool. You get one of those.
I don't have any trophies because I stink.
How would I describe my game? I always seemed like an assassin from start to finish.
You seem like I don't know if he means like you seem like a madman,
Yeah.
or you seem like mentally
that's
mentally focused and prepared from start to finish, or like my man's on a mission to actually kill somebody.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but I think
Yeah, to both.
that's just my personality. I think I've never been someone that's really expressive, and I've never. I'm getting a lot of looks while I'm doing this. It's funny. I've always been a little more reserved, and that's just who I am. So, yeah.
He's just quietly.
So you said you're reserved, but I saw something that I've seen like 3 times in my life from you. I saw you slap out a 4-9. You tripped the 4 into the 9. And I've seen you slap out like 2 shots in my life, and they were both in practice. Just because you were messing with me.
He was
I've
practicing for that 100K hit.
literally never seen it before in a tournament, and then I see you pull it out on TV, and I'm like, oh my God, is he okay? He's got to take some sips of water, breathe a little bit, slow that heart rate back down.
Yeah, I did I take a re-rack after that? I don't remember if I did or not. I might have.
I was in such
Listen,
amazing
sometimes you just got to bust out the slap out. It's needed sometimes.
Pretty soon he's going to be adding the and one.
No, that's all Packies. I'm not stealing yours.
That's too much. He doesn't.
You can't be getting
The
vocal
slap
over
outs
here.
first. The talking. Yeah. So speaking of that slap out, what did you think when Simo threw that urethane ball? I know you said you don't watch him, but you gotta have some thoughts when you see him pull a grenade out of his bag for TV.
Yeah. I mean, Simo's that kind of guy who can do everything with a bowling ball, so you never really know what to expect when he's going to come and when he's going to get onto the lanes. So when he threw that urethane ball, I was just thinking to myself, man, I hope that's not some magic ball reaction that he's just going to find by doing that. And it wasn't. In hindsight, it probably wasn't the decision for him, so it worked out for me. But my initial thought was, I'm hoping he just doesn't have the nut all of a sudden doing that.
Yeah, all of us, like, when he pulls out something like that, it's either going to be like that 180 ball reaction or 280 ball reaction, and you literally don't know until the game is done.
And even if it isn't, he could have made it work. He, obviously the 810 was kind of a
Deserved hit.
kind of a sign to that he wasn't going to throw it again after the 810.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. So both of you guys ran the ladder?
Yep.
Both of you ran the ladder. Both of you beat Sean Rash first match. Both of you beat Belmo and Simo.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
How's that feel?
That's crazy. That's crazy. It feels good.
I didn't know any of that until Mitch told me 5 minutes before we went live, but that is pretty crazy. Do you think it's an advantage, like both you guys, do you think it's an advantage to like start like in that 3, 4, 5 seed? Or would you obviously being the 1 seed, you only have to win 1 game, but do you think it's a little advantage to go through a couple games?
I think it can be. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
You got servants over there.
Yeah, excuse me, guys.
Tell me if it needs more salt there.
If the guac is no good, please be very vocal about it.
Let us know.
We need content.
A little more salt, yeah. A little more salt.
So you're saying there's no career change for Belmo in the future?
What was the question?
I said, how did it feel beating Belmo to win? Say his name at least 3 times.
It felt good. Obviously, you look at the people that were on that step ladder. Obviously, all going to be Hall of Famers in the future. So it was really special to go those players to win the Tournament of Champions. So you kind of expect the step ladder in the Tournament of Champions to be pretty hard to go through, and that's what it was. So it was very special.
Yeah, but like specifically that match against Belmo.
Specifically, the match against Belmo.
Did you think? Would you think it was one of the easier matches of the step ladder?
Was it one of my best matches? It had to be, because I was.
Oh no! I said.
Are you hearing this?
Yeah.
Are you hearing this?
I'm hearing it. I said, was it one of your easier matches of the step ladder?
Was it one of the easier matches? Yeah. Yeah, I think it was actually.
Really just handed it to you.
He didn't shoot 160 or whatever it was, but I mean, it was still slightly competitive, right?
Yeah, no, it was a good match.
Oh, shut up.
Jason had beaten me a few times on TV, so it was only fair that I returned the favor this time.
Yeah, and especially, at least make
okay,
it.
thank you.
When you're on the big stage, that's when you really bring out your A game for sure.
Yeah. That's what I like.
Sean's got a question from literally the couch right behind you.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part of your journey so far?
It's been a good journey. It's been interesting.
I read that straight in the Pontus voice.
That's exactly what it's meant to be read in. Yeah, it's been a good journey. It's been it feels just right.
Feels just right.
Yeah.
All right, we got probably like 10 minutes left, and then we'll let you go, and we'll let. That's hilarious. For those of you who don't know Zack Rhodes, he slapped out shots that went flush. Every shot was a slap out. Amazing.
Some made it to the arrows before the slap out, and it's always that one.
You did give him the high hard one. Can you tell me about your ball placement when you start off your approach? Do you round it off, Frankie? I have no idea what this means.
I think he might be referring to the push away.
Yeah, I don't know either. So
I'd say my push away is a little more round rather than push in front and let drop. Yeah. Again, it's just something that feels comfortable. It's just something that I do, not necessarily something that I've worked on a whole lot. That's the most important thing, I think, is to do something that feels comfortable. Nobody wants to look like a robot out there.
Yeah. So this was another question we had earlier. We kind of answered it, like you hit him with the ball. But where do you guys look when you make your corner pins, and where do you stand? I stand like very far right, and basically just launch it across the lane.
Yeah, I kind of have like
Sometimes
I kind of have I kind of have like two spots where I stand. One spot where I stand for the left side spares, one spot where I stand for the right side spares, and I just move my eyes depending on if I'm shooting a 10 pin, a 3 pin, a 9 pin, so
Yeah.
on.
I think I'm pretty much the same with my eyes, and I just move my feet about probably like 20 left to shoot the opposite corner. But what about you?
Oh, I got 3 spots because I don't really hook at the like 2.8. I still throw straight at those. So I got a spot where I shoot like 3/6/10s and that
Those
combo.
corner pins.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying
Corner
it's all the
pins.
same.
Jesus.
It's literally the same mark.
Okay.
And then I got the same thing on the left side. I got a spot for those, and then I got a spot for everything else.
Yeah,
3 spots. That's all you need.
that's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair.
So yeah, standing 33, looking at 21 for the 10 pin. Standing at 25, looking at 27 for the 7 pin.
It's pretty close. Yeah.
This guy Eric, I don't know,
Viner
Viner Bowling. Yeah, he's got some serious questions. It's a question for Chris. How long did it take you to perfect your release, and what was one of your worst habits when you were younger, form or mentally?
Oh, I was a major hothead when I was a kid.
No surprise.
Yeah, a rage monster, if you will. And my release is far from perfect if you watched match play last week. But I just focus on keeping my hand underneath the ball and trying to roll through it instead of forcing the ball to hook, because the balls are so strong nowadays that you don't have to help them hook. You just have to try to be I try to focus on being as natural as I can whenever I'm throwing the ball, not helping it.
That's fair.
Smooth.
Schmoo.
I don't need that second hand to get my ball to hook.
No, that's what I need.
Neither does Frank.
That's what I need. When is Belmo going to pull ahead in 300s on TV? I believe
Not going to happen.
it's never going to happen.
Yeah, no chance.
I was bummed that you didn't shoot 300 on TV or the mill.
Yeah.
That would have been sick.
Yeah, the pair that we bowled on made it a little tricky for that to happen. If they wanted that to happen, it had a better chance on a different pair, I think.
What do you like think? What was the best pair in the house? All of them on the low end.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't remember one being really that much better than any of the other ones.
I can tell you which ones were bad.
If you asked Sean, would he have a specific pair that he knows is best?
No, he'd have. If you asked him the opposite question,
Yeah. Which ones were bad?
He'd have answers for that. Yeah.
That's fair.
39, 40, 41, 42.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm not good enough to bowl in those centers.
The easiest PBA pattern. Don't know. Don't they have some that are 5, 6, 7 to 1 or something?
Yeah,
Like I said before, I don't know all the names and the characteristics of all the patterns.
The league was at least 25 to 1.
Felt like it.
Well, yeah. You can probably just find that if you just go on the PBA website, which I'm not very familiar with. I'm pretty sure you can just like look up PBA patterns, even online.
Yeah,
and
they have the patterns on there.
It'll bring up like 10 or 15 patterns that they regularly use, whether it's World Series or those like Don Carter, Earl Anthony. I don't even know the other name ones that they have. They have the like Petraglia. They have like a Marshall Holman pattern, maybe.
Del Ballard.
Yeah.
Pretty much any legend has a pattern.
Yeah.
So when are they coming out with the Belmo pattern?
Don't know. It's got to be soon.
45 years.
So if you had to create a pattern that the PBA was going to name after you, what would it be?
It'd be
Like your length and ratio. And you could make it like stupid.
Mine would probably be like 26 feet.
26 feet,
No.
1-to-1.
Yeah. No, I don't know, 41, 42, and 2-to-1 maybe between.
2-to-1.
Yeah,
You wouldn't.
1.5 to 2-to-1. Yeah, that's
It's
fair.
2-to-1, but the only 2-to-1 is on 2.
Exactly.
one.
Exactly.
2-to-1. So
Yeah.
you really play the lip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I would have expected you to say 1-to-1 at the most.
No. You go down. Go down.
-6-to-1.
540 rev rate. How does a guy like me compete with Francois on a tough pattern?
The answer is you don't.
For a guy like Matt Helmick, whose rev rate probably is -400 of that, Matt's a good friend of ours. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
And his rev rate is probably 140 or 240,
No, it's about 106.
somewhere in that range.
He's basically shooting a 10-pin every shot.
This is kind of a cool question. Have you guys been more comfortable staying in the same? So we bowled in Jupiter for a while. What was it? The like World Series, or I guess like with all the World Series patterns last year, they put us all in Virginia, and then this year all the players guys met in Jupiter, and the TOC was in Jupiter, and now the World Series is going to be in Tampa. Is it more comfortable, or would you rather go to all these centers where Jason Belmonte knows every single detail about every single lane?
No, I think it's fine the way it is now. Especially during this time, I think that's a good way to do it. I don't have a problem with it. It'd be a little trickier and a little riskier too if we were traveling all over the country week after week like we kind of normally do.
Interacting with a bunch of different crowds and
Hmm.
travel makes it hard.
I'm also a fan of us being in Florida because we're not in like Minnesota where everything's
Because
frozen.
it was February. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And there's not 4 feet of snow on the ground.
It's always crazy, not dogging the PBA literally at all, but I'm about to dog them for a little bit. Why do we always go to like Indy in January when it's freezing and snowing, and then we'll go to Lubbock, Texas when it's 110 degrees?
It's because people don't
I'm
want
sure
to
there
leave.
are. I'm sure there are some good reasons. On a serious note, I'm sure there are some good reasons.
Yeah, I mean, it's all like
that-
scheduled.
It's just that not everybody's necessarily interested in hearing them, so it's easier to just complain.
It's easier to just be me and say, it makes slim sense when I'm stuck in a snowstorm.
Yeah.
What's it like having the coolest name on tour? That was for you, because a guy earlier said the coolest name is Frankie. So that definitely was for you.
What's it like?
How many people mess your
Don't know.
name up?
It's normal. Oh, it gets messed up all the time. I get Francis a lot. I get Francois. Francois. I got the UPS guy delivered something to my house the other day, and he asked if Francisco was there. So he just
Where's
reorganized.
Sam at?
He just reorganized the letters and made up a whole different name.
I just saw FRANC and just automatically,
Francisco.
Are you Francisco? Yes, I am. SA.
yes, I am. I'll sign right there. Yes.
Did you sign it,
That's me.
Francisco?
No, scribbled.
That would have been better.
I never give him my signature.
He's a secret man. Is it easier or harder with a live crowd, with or without live crowd? What would you rather?
For me, I don't really notice too much of a difference. I don't know if it's easier or harder, but we certainly miss having people there watching us. I do, at least.
Is it because you've shot
Looking
300
forward.
with and without?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so easier, harder, neither.
Both. It's easy.
It does make it awkward, like
A little
whenever
bit.
you get pumped up for a shot and you're like, bam, and there's nobody else there to go like, oh my God, that was sick.
Oh, no, I'm
Yeah.
so used to
Yeah.
doing that when
Like-
I'm practicing by myself. It doesn't matter.
It's probably a good thing for Frank because the crowd wouldn't have known what to do when he slapped it out. They would have just been quiet anyway.
He slapped it out. You would have had
that would have actually made it even more awkward than normal.
Yeah, exactly.
You would have had like 15-year-old girls just crying in the front row, going nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a technical one.
This is the last one.
Yeah, it does.
All right. Well, guys, that was a good live.
Yeah, it does. I didn't even realize you clicked on one already.
No, we'll get one or two more. Apparently they're firing in questions. They slowed down and now they're just firing in. But yeah, what do you think? Like being in Jupiter, hot, warm weather, humid. Does that make it hook earlier, later? Does it make the patterns feel longer, shorter?
I don't know about all that. I actually don't really pay attention too much to it. I just kind of see what's on the lanes. I don't really relate it to everything else that's happening around.
Yeah.
But I do think it changes things. I think maybe it makes it hook earlier.
Yeah, I really
my guess.
I really only pay attention when it's like blatantly different in the bowling center. Like one day is like super cold, and then the next day, like let's say the AC happens to break or something like that, and it's just super hot. Like then it's like totally different. That's when you're going to see like a real change. But other than that, I don't think anybody really pays attention to that too much.
No.
What do you think made the TV? Because you said like during the week early on, you shot a couple 800s, which were the first of your career. And he literally said that he's got like 4 or 5 800s, including the 2 he had this week, which is unreal. And
it's all them flat 10s.
No, it's the same thing I hear every year. He's like, yeah, it's like my first 800 in like 5 years. And I'm like,
you just shot one 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. So what do you think made the TV pair? Obviously, the TV pairs are always different.
Yeah. Well, we didn't use the TV pair at all during the week. That whole section of the bowling center we didn't use because they left everything up from the Players Championship the week before. So yeah, we only bowled on, what was it, 25 and up or 27 and up.
Yeah. And do you think that's
the TV pair was 7 and 8 or 9 and 10, and well, just the fact that there hadn't been any games bowled on it, I do think made it a bit different, and it's probably also a different section of the bowling center, like we talked about. There's like where we bowl, there was like a distinct differences between the high end and the middle and the lower end. So a lot of things come into play. I don't know for sure what the most important factor was, but
could be the fact that they run them like 6 times before you ever bowl on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they were running the pair once every other day.
Yeah.
All right, ladies. Well, let's take one more and then we'll end it.
That's all the time we have.
It's literally all the time. We have so much else to do. Just so much. Very busy. Okay, well, I just saw this. I'm just going to quick answer. Yes, please. That's all you need to know. Yes. Usually I'm in the crowd cheering, but yes. All right. Which major are you looking forward to? I mean,
other than the ones that we've already bowled.
Other than the ones we've bowled in the U.S. Open, you're not allowed to answer that because you've won it twice.
I'm going to say the Masters because it's a lot of fun, I think.
You think the Masters
is different enough? Yeah, I like the Masters.
So, are you going to beat Belmo on the show for the Masters, or?
Listen, if that's what I have to do, that's what I'll do.
If it's got to happen, it's got to happen.
If it's written in the stars that way, then that's what'll happen.
This is written in the stars. You're a philosopher. So if the Masters, you're like your most. You said it's a lot of fun. Would you rather bowl the Masters or bowl the U.S. Open?
Well, the U.S. Open.
And why is that?
You know, the history's a little different there. So
yeah, your personal history or career or the history of the tournament, or
All of
yes?
it. All of it. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
all of the above.
How many U.S. Opens have you bowled?
2015 was my first one.
All right, so this will be year number 6.
You're 2 for 5.
It'll be 7, including
Okay, fair enough.
15 with the first one. So yeah,
So 2 for 6. It's pretty good
Yeah.
odds.
it's really not that difficult.
It's really just not that hard at all. I've made the cut once. I felt good about that, and it wasn't even the match play cut. So, yeah.
Me and Packy are over here hoping we go back to North Rock for the U.S. Open, so we got a chance.
Yeah.
Like people, you guys are ridiculous. People say that when they put out a pattern at North Rock, I am incapable of striking. Like the left at North Rock is not good. It only is good on the fine china.
You've been struggling on the house shot too, haven't you?
I bowled
You're
back-to-back sweepers past 2 weeks. Listen, it's been tough averaging 280.
You're back on track now at North Rock.
We're back on pace. Yeah.
They don't want to smoke.
705 the other week. We're back.
Okay.
Gave me a lot of confidence coming here, and then Chris puts out a pattern, and I look like a league bowler. Bowling on the PBA.
And the left is even easy in this house that we're practicing at. We're making it look really hard.
Nice.
Lots of strikes to be had, just not for me. All right. Well, that's it. Thanks for coming on. Do you have any sponsors? Oh, God, I did it again. Do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank?
Yes, of course. I would like to thank Storm. I would like to thank Turbo. I would like to thank Buddy's Pro Shop. And I would like to thank Coolwick.
All right. And this is basically Team Buddy's Pro Shop here.
It is. We're only missing what, three guys?
Yeah, we're missing 2 lefties.
Jake, Anthony, and Ryan.
Rhino.
All right. Well, this is Team Buddy's Pro Shop.
Signing out. Peace.
Signing out. Thanks to all of our sponsors. And if Dasani Water wants to sponsor the house, feel free.
You don't even show the logo.
We'd love a big time sponsor. Snickers, Red Bull, whoever. The PBA, they can sponsor us. But until then, peace out.